everybody. This is CJ Tester. Somebody let me know you got video and audio here. I'm going to switch the camera here in just a second. Hey Chris, what's up, buddy? All right. Just waiting to see if anybody else is coming in. I know people hate that. I hate that when people get on here, Facebook Live, and say, "Oh, I'm going to wait for more people to come in." I'm just going to take it right from the hip here. As you can see, I'm in traffic here, so I'm driving. I'm not going to be able to type out responses, so I'll see if I can get a couple responses in here in periodically. I know y'all don't want to watch traffic, so I guess I'll shift the camera now. Oh, damn, almost scared myself there for a second. Okay, all right, LOL, all that good stuff. Hey, everybody, this is CJ Testa. I got to do the usual declaration, which I'm sure you've seen other folks do with the other YouTube and other videos, educational, informational purposes, all that crap, whatever. I don't care at this point. So you'll have to forgive me a little bit. I am driving. I'm out here on the JOB, so but I've got a long drive north here. Damn, I just realized everybody in ACH probably knows what I look like now. Wow. Okay. Good to go. Okay. I started posting, I posted earlier, maybe 30, 45 minutes ago, about speaking some truths and some strategy and stuff like that. So, I just wanted to get a couple things off my mind here, regarding the journey that we've all been on here, especially folks that have been here for a long time in ACH. But fundamentally, this video is for anybody that wants to partake. And I'm going to take all comments, good, bad, indifferent. Doesn't matter to me at this point. Tiny little background here. I'm going to try to not elaborate too much, but I've been in this journey since '98. Okay, so those of you I've communicated that to, you know that already, but I've been in this journey for freedom and prosperity and liberty since about '98. I've been studying this crap, the Matrix, the Beast. I've been studying it for a long time, almost 20 years now, so just about. So this is not an ego trip for me. This is not a CJ knows all. CJ knows he's better than anybody else. I always have told a lot of folks in this group that I am no better than any man or woman regarding this mission and this journey. I'm just well versed, and that's one of my favorite lines. So, been in the journey since about '98. I started with the IRS, and where you smell smoke, something just makes your ass burn a little bit, and you say, "No, you know what? I'm tired of this crap." I was in business at the time, and I was just being, I don't like the word, but I'll just say it. I was being raped with business taxes, and I had employees, had my own company, and I was being really taken to the woodshed on taxes. And I just decided at one point that that was enough for me, and I was going to start digging and getting into this stuff pretty deep. And I just said, well, at this point, what do I have to lose? Well, you could say I was in business. I could lose my business, whatever. I didn't know anything. I kind of woke up, and one of the first resources I ever used in this journey was um, a entity called Freedom Law School. It's in Phelan, that's Phealan, Phelan, California. And it was started and run by a guy named Payman Motahede, who was an Iranian Jew who immigrated to this country, and I think if I'm right, 1978 or something like that. Anyway, his organization was actually it's called LiveFreeNow.net or org. I'm not sure, .net or .org. It's called Live Free Now. So, and I got onto his website and started looking at all the information that they had regarding the IRS. And in California at that time, the Franchise Tax Board, which I think is worse than the federal IRS. And some of you in California, I'm sure can relate to that. So, started on that journey, looked into his site, actually spent $800 on a package. Now, the package was all designed to teach you about the Federal Reserve and the tax system and the laws, and it was mainly concentrated on the IRS, federal IRS, and the State Franchise Tax Board of California. And one of their taglines was how to beat the IRS, how to beat the FTB, all this other stuff. And they're also tied into at that time they were tied into, and they still are, tied into a huge patriot, liberty, freedom, patriot, whole network of people. Some of the names you folks may not be familiar with are Larry B. Kraft, Joe Bannister in the IRS, Sherry Peel Jackson. If you go to that site, livefreenow.org or .net, I can't remember what it is now, but if you go there, you can kind of see what it is. They've got a lot of ties to a lot of different things, a lot of good information, a lot of factual information. So anyway, I want to get off that for a second, but my journey started there, and I decided that I wasn't going to be a quote unquote victim anymore. I was going to take these people on. I was going to learn how everything worked, how I could get out from underneath of these huge beasts. Because in my opinion, taxation is one of the worst things in life. So that's where I started. Once I started getting knowledgeable on some of these things, I started digging even more into the depths of law, trust law, common law, trust law, commercial law, uniform commercial code. I went on a span for about I'd say a good 6-7 years of learning a lot of things, many hundreds and hundreds of hours of study and research. But here's the magic, folks. Here's the magic, and it ties right into Facebook and ACH group and everything else. Here's the magic. I had a few moments along the way that, sorry for the shaking, guys, I'm driving. But I had a few moments along the way, a few light bulb moments, come to Jesus moments, whatever you want to call them, where I started feeling a little bit powerful, because in my correspondence and in my interactions with federal agents, with state agents, basically shit just started coming out of my mouth from what was in my head, from the knowledge that I've gained, from the research that I've done. All this stuff is, the brain is a magical thing, right? It stores all kinds of information. So I call it diarrhea of the mouth with knowledge. And I'm sure some of you are laughing at that. So what what I had in those come to Jesus moments, or light bulb moments, as I call them, was this realization that I could be pretty damn powerful in what was in my head, what I've learned. Now, I'm going to stop it right there and say, well, okay, what's the expression? Knowledge of all the trades, or whatever it is, master of none, whatever. I forget how that phrase goes. But I had a lot of information in a lot of different places in my head, and was starting to become very, very knowledgeable in not only application, but in my small circle of friends, people started asking me for help. And I'm so thankful for that, because when people started asking me for help, that forced me to really sharpen my craft, really sharpen my sword, if you will. And it forced me to learn even more. It forced me to make, and I hate the word mistakes, I call them lessons. It forced me to learn a lot of lessons, because I made a lot of those miscalculations in my delivery, in my attempts to help people. But in the process, I learned that in the duty, if you will, the duty to others to help them out, and help them along their journeys, I started getting really, really good at what I was doing. Then I discovered, I don't even remember the name of the software, but it was a legal document software package that I bought at Best Buy one time. And I had no idea what, I'm going to say this is like circa 2002, 2003, whatever. I had no idea how to draft legal documents. I had no idea how to do any of that kind of stuff. So I dove in yet again on another journey, another mission to learn how to use different legal documents, different legal processes. In the process of trying to help other people and trying to do other stuff, not only online, but making presentments in courts, being a court observer many, many times, I started to see the patterns. I started to see the mechanics of the courtroom, the mechanics of litigation, the mechanics of laws, statutes, codes. So yet again, here I was on another whirlwind tour of who I was, what standing I had, what knowledge I had, what I could apply, how I could use these tools. And you see that I post the word toolbox a lot. So what I had to learn, and this is what I hope, one of the big points, is that the system is what it is. The system is what it is right now. All of us want to vaporize several different, shall we call them, entities that put chains on us from birth till death. So I mean that in a peaceful way and all that kind of stuff, of course. But a lot of people get very, very frustrated when the light bulb goes off over their head and they realize, holy crap, I'm standing in a huge matrix pile of bullshit that just ties me down, from taxation to trust, to commercial law, to contracts, to checking accounts, to whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to name it. So I know I'm all over the map here, folks, but I'm just trying to get through the outline in my head here, so forgive me for that. But so to summarize, it's been a long journey for me, and it's been a long journey for me, a long journey, a tiring and exhausting journey so far for almost 20 years now. I have to give a shout out and props to a lot of the folks and mentors along my journey. There are many, many, many. I don't even want to start rattling them off so much on this video, but I was fortunate. I was fortunate and blessed with a very good analytical mind and a very high level internal drive that I possess myself individually. I love the chaos. I love being in leadership positions. I love the chaos. I love getting in there and getting my, scraping my knees, getting dirty, sweating. And a lot of you that have experienced interactions with me or my posts know that. I'm not going to spoon feed you. I'm going to give you tidbits. I'm going to throw things out. But no holds barred. I'm not here to spoon feed anybody to drag you along. What I'm here is, and one of my favorite phrases, and folks who I've interacted with and seen my posts know that I repeatedly say, I respect people that will do the work. I respect people that will do the work. Because I had to do the work. I had to get out there and dive in and get dirty and get slapped in the face and get a broom. Don't take this the wrong way, anybody, but get a broom shoved up my butt from the alphabet gangs, because I had to learn, I had to evolve, I had to strategize. I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut into a little bit of the ACH group here. As a lot of you probably know, I was fortunate enough to be extended the branch of being an admin in the group. And if you haven't noticed, there's a little star next to my name. That means I'm either an admin or a moderator or whatever. So Willie extended that to me, and I'm thankful for that. Not because it holds any special prowess or anything like that. I just think that being in the group from almost just about the beginning of the group until now, I have a good working knowledge of the group and what our purpose is, what the ground rules are, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't hold any special power for me. It's a monitoring entity in the group, to help keep things straight and narrow, keep things in order. And I'm sure any other admin or moderator would tell you that. But being in there in that capacity also, along with being hopefully a good contributor to the group, it allows, and anybody who has a Facebook group who's their own admin knows that it allows you to look at the data of the group, the activity of the group, the growth of the group, what the numbers are like. Are you gaining members? Are you losing members? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So one of the factors that you may or may not be aware of is that the group is very, very close to a 50,000 member group membership count. Okay. But of that membership group count, there's only, and I think this is really a stretch, but there's only about 29 to 30,000 active members out of 50,000. So I'm going to be conservative and say half the group is active. But I think that's even a long stretch. And, that really kind of, I wouldn't say it pisses me off, but it irritates me, because there's only a group, I'm going to say there's a group, I would effectively say there's a group of 6 or 8 people. I'll say maybe there's a group, let's go long on this and say there's a group of about 20 people in the ACH group that are constantly actively contributing and helping and doing. Let's just say it's 30. Okay, that's really kind of piss poor, folks. That's really piss poor. Because by my standards, with a group of this kind of potentially power that you hold, just by sharing the knowledge and interacting and digging and getting dirty, there should be. I mean, you should bring up the ACH group in Facebook, and that shit should just be rolling off like a roll of toilet paper with posts. But it doesn't. And this is what's so irritating because, as you all know now, I've been in the journey a long time. And to have the technology that we have available to us now and be able to interact, there should be a lot more activity in this group. And for all my co-admins, moderators, whatever else, hats off to you. But I know you all see the same thing I'm looking at periodically. With a group this large, we wield a lot of power, a lot of potential power. And I'll tell you what really irritates me a lot is like when somebody comes up with a gem and posts it, like, yeah, I'll call him out. He's a good guy as far as I'm concerned. Chris Jones posted out that he was going to help folks with secure party credit or SPC process. And almost immediately I saw comments like what's the next step? Help me, please. Me too. Blah, blah, blah. That's weak, folks. That's weak, folks. What you should be doing is saying, hey, Chris, give us an outline. Do this, do that. And I saw a lot of that. I'm not discounting that, but you saw an immediate influx of spoon feeders there. I just wanted to be led along. The best damn part of ACH, the best thing that gets me lit off in the day is when somebody posts something and then there's a long discussion, man. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. There's a long discussion. The interaction is the magic, folks. The interaction is the magic. I can't say that enough times. And a lot of people just like to sit back because they're inexperienced or they're afraid or scared or they don't, they don't understand what's going on. So I get that. I understand that. Okay. But how are you ever take me back to 98. I didn't know shit about shit in 98. How was I ever going to get good at anything if I didn't get in there and scrap and fight and, wait for the ding ding when the round was done, How did I ever get anywhere if I didn't start diving in? Instead of asking me to, please, and asking to be led along, interact. Ask questions. Question with boldness. Call me out. Call Chris out. Whoever's making the good post, call them out. Interact. Don't just sit back and watch and wait for little tidbits enough. You know what happens when that happens? You see something that catches. If you're sitting back in the shadows and you see something like that pop out, and you say, "Oh man, that looks great. I wonder what they're going to say here." What happens is somebody takes a small tidbit of something and thinks, that's the silver bullet. That's the magic. I've been watching this post for 15 minutes. There it is. And what happens is they go out with that little tidbit and think they got all the knowledge they need. And they go out and they screw themselves. They screw themselves in a courtroom. They screw themselves in an administrative process, whatever that is, because they think that sitting back in the shadows and grabbing a little tidbit was really the magic. You just screwed yourself. This is reality, reality bites moment here, right? So what I'd love to see, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, is I'd love to see more discussion, more in-depth discussion. Getting out there. Put yourself out there. Anybody respectful is not going to laugh at you. Okay? Nobody's going to laugh at you. Get your feet wet. If you're all ready, give me a thumbs up or something here. I'm going to start rattling off some reference points here for you all, because I know I've been going a long time here. So I'm going to start rattling off reference points, stuff that you need to understand. So, hey, Martin, what's up, buddy? Leah, Mark, what's up? Sorry, guys, I'm driving, so I have to be careful what I'm doing here. Everybody, I forgot to mention Leah. I know Leah was in here earlier. So Um, I'm going to start rattling off a couple things here. So, and if I'm going too fast, please slow me down. But there's a couple different things that I'm going to pull out of my head from years and years of research and mentorship and this and that, and a couple things that are key in moving forward in the journey here on the mission. So I'm going to start with the IRS because that's where I started out. IRS revolves around Title 26, USC 26. Okay? If you don't get in there and dive in and start looking around and starting to know what USC Title 26 is, what it stands for, what it's all about, that's one of the biggest chains on your life, taxes. There's a specific section in there, USC 26, subsection 83, regarding capital gains on wages. Taxation via capital gains on wages. That's a huge gem. There's a gentleman named Dave Merland, Myrland, David Merland, that did a whole treatise and a whole presentment going actually to the Supreme Court here regarding that specific section of Title 26. Okay, the next one is Title 31. Title 31, USC 31, specifically at Section 363.0 and forward. That's a gem because it points you towards understanding the relationship between your estate or trust, securities and bonds that are held at U.S. Treasury. U.S. Treasury is the deep sinkhole. That's the black hole for everything in commerce in this country. I don't care what anybody tells you. My research over the years tells me that because U.S. Treasury essentially holds the purse string. Everybody thinks it's the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve System is only an administrator along with its collection agency, the private corporation, the IRS. The U.S. Treasury supplies all the authorization to print that fake money up. So U.S. Treasury is ground zero. And if you don't understand that at this point, you need to get on that and look into it. So Title 31, Section 363.0 and forward, it's regarding the custodial relationship of you and what's been created for you at Treasury since that birth certificate was created and bonded you for the rest of your life regarding the age of majority, when you turn the age of